This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Start off, do you have your starting rotation set for this weekend?
Yeah, we'll go with Hagen Smith Friday. We'll go with Tigert Saturday, Molina Sunday, and Colin Fisher on Monday. And how many years, maybe never, I've been able to tell you a rotation. So hopefully we'll stay healthy all year, and we'll be able to figure this one out.
I guess we kind of knew those top three guys would be there. Yep. Maybe a little bit of question on the order between Tigert and Molina. Was there any strategy with that order there?
Not really. Just figured, I don't know, you probably talked to Coach Hobbs about it, but I think, left, right, left, it really doesn't matter, and it can change. Just maybe the two guys that have been in our program the longest. You could go through a lot of things. It's maybe how they pitched. But I think they're pretty equal. They're both really good. So we'll go that way. But no particular reason.
And also, what went the decision to go with Fisher there in the fourth game?
We were thinking about Bobby. We've got some other guys as well. Bobby, tweaked his hamstring a little bit, and pitch count was down. And he tried to pitch last weekend, and we were inside. He didn't have his best stuff and have the command that he's had, but that's kind of what we're looking at. If you really look at it, Gabe Gackles pitched really well lately. He threw great last weekend, and he would be a candidate, and there's a couple others. So it's a good problem to have. Some of these guys are young, but their stuff is really good. So we'll play it out. It's like I told the team yesterday before practice started. We had a little meeting in the dugout. I just talked about it's just the beginning of the season, and the game will tell us what to do. You guys will show us what to do, and the cream will rise to the top, and we'll figure it out.
Coach, just how tough was it to hear Peyton Stovall broke his foot this close to the season?
Well, it was tough. It was tough for Peyton. It was tough for me personally, for Peyton, and I think our team feels really bad for him. He was upset about it when he found out. He just, why me? Why does this keep happening? And missed games last year. He was really swinging the bat well, played good too. So, I just told him, you're the strongest, one of the stronger guys mentally. You can handle this, and that's why it was put on you, I feel like. And I think that he'll be even more ready to go once he gets it going, gets his live at bats. But yeah, it was tough. And when it happened, when the ball hit him, we were like, ooh, that is not a good spot. Even though it was a changeup, it hit him flush, and he didn't move. He's leading off the game, and he's mad at himself for not jumping out of the way. And I said, well, you just you play the game the right way, and the guy throws you a changeup, you just kind of let it hit you, and you take your base, and you didn't do anything wrong. It's kind of the way you're trained, and but we're sure excited to get him back when he comes back.
And then just not having him at second, how do you feel about, I guess, Holt, Sprague-Lott, anybody else maybe?
Yeah, those are Holt will play there, and played there the last third of the season, did a great job. He was going to be our starting third baseman. So Sprague-Lott, who is going to probably play a little bit everywhere, will start. And he started in college for a few years. So I feel good about those guys defensively.
Hey, what can you tell us about James Madison? Do you do much of an advanced scout on one?
Yeah, and it's still going on right now. Basically what I can tell you is that, what we can do is we know what they did last year with who's coming back, and maybe we've got velocities and tendencies and those type of things. But this is a team that last year hit right at almost 300. Won a lot of games. They're competitive, and I don't feel like they would have scheduled to come here a couple of years ago if they didn't feel good about what they had in the program at the time, and then also what's coming in to start the season on the road, a long way from home like this.
And their outfielder Trimble, I think, got some. Fenwick Trimble's got some really big numbers.
Really good stats. Just a tough out. You look at his numbers, his strikeouts to walks and batting average. He's the guy they're probably built their lineup around, and he had a tremendous year last year. So, you know, really you try to watch batting practice the first day and see if some of the reports are your visual, your eyes you put on them. It looks like what you've read. A lot of times you make some changes too, and then you know, what does our pitchers throw compared to maybe what they're seeing with these numbers? So you might switch, you know, you turn the field a little bit on it with those position players because of velocity or different things. So yeah, it's the beginning of the year. You don't know much about a lot of people. So, you know, really, I just told our guys, we'll get as much as we can on them, but we just need to really take care of what we can take care of, and that's for us to play good defense and throw strikes.
Hey, with your batting order with Stovall, what's the chain reaction to moving someone else and lead off and go with it from there?
Pretty much just kind of basically what you said. We're just going to move everybody up. We'll probably hit our catcher leadoff. Might be the first time I've ever done that. I know that Biggio was a pretty good leadoff hitter in college back in the day, and so White's a tough out if he's catching. If he's not catching, then we'll flip it around. But if White's not catching, he'll be DHing if we, you know, on Friday or Saturday. So, you know, that's what we're looking like. And I'll go left after that, then right, then left, and then pretty much right after that. You know, if Stovall was in the lineup, you know, he might be hitting lead off for us, and then you go left, right, left, right, left, right, probably, and then you finish up with a few right-handers at the end. So. You know, if we get into the game, we feel like the righties are struggling with the right-hander, then I'll bring a couple of these lefties off the bench and let them hit.
You mentioned the catchers and Hudson's a starter. Do you have any, you know, plans already in place to, you know, with the depth that you have, to give him a day off this weekend, or is it going to be a wait
Yeah, I
and
won't
see?
catch him all weekend, no doubt. I think Helfrich's going to definitely catch, and you might see another one. Just see how it goes. But we feel really good about our catchers, and I'm sure it's going to be an ongoing question throughout the year, and unless guys just really do well and separate themselves, you know, how am I going to handle it? I don't know. I'm going to let it handle itself right now.
I'm just wondering, the season's here. Any 1-2 players that maybe did the most for themselves in terms of either earning a starting job or, you know, figuring into the competition as we get to opening day?
I think, you know, for the last 2 weekends, I've kind of put together the starting lineup a couple of times, and the lineup's done pretty well. Has outscored the other team pretty good, which is a good thing. Doesn't mean everybody in the lineup's done great, but, you know, as a team, they played pretty well together. Again, I told the team yesterday the lineup will change throughout the year, and just because, you know, you make the starting lineup day one doesn't mean you're going to be there in the 15th game. So, you know, you got to keep working. So I can't say that one individual's really jumped himself up. I think there's been some separation already going into spring.
Hey, 6 or 7 years ago, you might have had a lot of sophomores and juniors in your opening day lineup. This year, it's going to be a lot of third, fourth, fifth year type guys. How does that change? Maybe does it change your expectations at all that you have older players on the first day?
I don't think it changes my expectation. I just feel like that this is basically the way it is, and I've said it for 2 years now, that teams are always going to be old now, especially in our league. You know who you feel like as a coach, a coaching staff, who's in your program, who's going to be back for the next season, and who's going to be an impact guy, start, whatever. And then, you know, you've got some young guys coming in, but, you know, with the way everything works these days, you got to fill in with some guys, and usually the guys you're going to fill in with are going to be a minimum of a sophomore. You know, you look at Aloy, who's done a great job of swinging the bat, playing defense, great teammate. Players love him. Well, he's only a sophomore, but he had a really good freshman year, and you think he would get better, and he has. He's really coachable, and he's done a great job for us. And, you know, freshmen getting in lineups in the SEC, there's going to be one here, one there. I think where you can really do it is on the mound, because when you're on the mound, you got the ball, and if you get them out, you're pitching. And if you can control the running game, and you field your position a little bit, and you don't panic, you throw it over the plate, and you got good stuff, you're going to pitch. And I think it's maybe easier to prove it than maybe a position player that's got to do a bunch of things as far as playing defense, hitting, knowing the signs, base running, and a lot of times it takes a little longer for that guy. But we've always had, for the most part, we've had one freshman that plays a lot, or two that play a lot as a young guy, and they're our dudes as sophomores and juniors.
Maybe expectation's not the right word, and I think you're kind of alluding to this, but there's more consistency with older guys early in the season. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think that would be true. You think about our outfield last year, really 3 guys that transferred in, 2, and then 1 that had been here the year before that transferred in. And when you just take care of needs like that, and then they come in and they do what you think they're going to do, and I think the expectation is that you're older, you're experienced, that we should be pretty good right out of the blocks. And I guarantee every team in our league thinks the same thing, because every team in our league right now says they're going to a regional and they have a chance to play in Omaha, and maybe talent-wise that's true. But you got to play the games.
And then with an older clubhouse where you've got a lot of 23, 24-year-old types, do you see the freshmen come in and mature quicker because they're put into more of an older setting?
That's a good question. I don't know if we have any 24-year-olds in there, maybe 1, but I think the freshmen probably realize they don't have as big a group of young guys to go running around and doing silly things, so that might help them grow up a little bit, because these older guys, they're at the end of their college careers. They want to win. They want to do well now. They work harder. They're, like you said, they're more mature. And I think they're going to follow. The younger guys usually follow that lead. And if you get one that's really serious when they come out of high school, and we've got a couple of those in there right now, it's interesting, and those are the guys that may be the closest ones to playing and pitching right away.
Going back to Peyton Holt and moving him to second, was there any thought to maybe keep him at third and put Sprague Lott at second, or was it a pretty easy choice for you because of the defense and that kind of thing?
It was an easy choice for me, because we had already talked about it. You got to plan, because things happen in the middle of a game, that if Stovall was to get hurt, how would we handle it? If Aloy was to get hurt, how would we flip it around? Things like that. And Holt has better range than Jared does. No knock on him. Jared can field with anybody in the country. His glove is outstanding. But the experience that Holt gained last year playing here, and Sprague Lott has been more of a third baseman in college and a little bit of a shortstop. Played some second as well as a freshman, but we just feel like that double play combination up the middle might be a little more athletic with Holt at second.
And Robinette seemed to be really swinging the bat well lately. How is he looking defensively, and is he a guy that could maybe get some action this first weekend?
Yeah, if you look at him physically, and probably from the stands, I think you can see it. He's in the best shape of his life. He pretty much stayed here in the summer and worked out and really worked on his body, got stronger, and he's a little heavier footed, obviously, than Wagner is, but his hands are good, his arm's very accurate, and it is strong. So that's been a good battle over there. I see both of those guys for a while just kind of rotating out. Probably DH playing first. You probably see that the first couple of days, and we're gonna let the games tell us, see what we see in the games, and we're talking range and picking balls out of the dirt, and the advantage that McLaughlin has, he's a bigger target. Wagner has probably better range. They both pick the ball out of the dirt, so I'm not going to say one's ahead of the other. They both have their pluses and negatives, I guess, but they both bring something to our lineup, and that's a little bit of sock and their tough outs, and it's not a problem whatsoever. It's just a matter of figuring out who to play in the field.
I was looking at James Madison's stats from last year. They stole a lot of bases, had a lot of bunts. Is that something you've maybe focused on a little bit extra leading up to the season, and is that maybe a good test for your infield and your new catchers?
Yeah, I think they stole about 90 bases last year or something, but they also got thrown out 30 sometimes. So what that tells me is they're going to keep doing it. That's part of their game. Some of those are probably on swing and miss hit and runs. So they're not just sitting trying to single homer. They're going to hit and run, try to advance runner, probably give up an out to move somebody to score in a position. We work on it a lot. We talk about, especially early in the season when we're playing teams from normally, east or the north. They're inside a lot. they'll try to run a first and third offense on you and try to steal a run from you. And if we're up 5 runs in the 5th, we'll give it to them. Let's get it out. Let's get in there and hit. If it's late in the game, you gotta defend it a little better. Bunch, you got to be on your toes. So we know that is a major possibility. In the SEC, they don't run as much because pitchers are quick to the plate and the catchers can really throw. You got to really pick and choose your time, and you got to really work at it. Kentucky and Vandy do it a lot. They have those type of players. They play on turf. So you know what you know with the league. But the non-conference guys, you just know that they're going to probably doing something to score. Besides hitting the ball all over the field, they're going to try to manufacture runs.
With the wireless communication that your players are using now, was that much of an adjustment the last few weeks?
Yeah, I was just feeling comfortable with it's probably the biggest adjustment, and that includes me because I'm calling signs or calling plays with someone standing next to me that's plugging it in. And what if that's someone who's plugging it in and gets sick that day? I got to make sure that I know what I'm doing, or somebody else, so we can get it in, because we really don't have physical signs, because it's a better system and it's quicker. The opportunity to run pickoff plays, and because with the what I call the shot clock, the 20-second clock, it's hard to put stuff on, because the catcher we used to have to get out and put signs on at everybody, and it just, now you got to go, like you got to be and I'm always thinking a pitch or two ahead, even when we're on offense. But on defense, if you see something, you plug it in. Hey, let's pick this guy off first. Runner first and second, nobody out. 1 out. We're going to slide that guy in there and pick. You probably see more picks than normal just because it's easier to get him in. We want to do it during the game, but a lot of times we can't get his attention or whatever the case may be. Now they're trained to look at that, and it says catcher picked to first. The catcher gets a sign. He's given the pitches. If we want to call in a pitch, we can still radio it into his ear. And our pitchers, like the big leagues, they have it in their hat, and it's talking to them. Slider away. I mean, if you were standing next to him, you'd hear it. And every now and then it probably doesn't work like it does in the big leagues. And I guess we get to, we get to hopefully not have to use one of our offensive, defensive timeouts on that. I'm sure there's going to be some times where we're just shaking our head like, what are we doing with all this? But it does speed up the game, and if technology works correctly, I think it's a good thing.
Now that we're almost to the season, do you have a feel for Dylan Carter and Adam Hatchman and what they might be able to do for you, if anything? Yeah,
Dylan threw a bullpen the other day, and he was really good. And it's amazing. He's way ahead of schedule, because when he heard it last year, I didn't think he'd pitch this year. Just going off of history and what's going on with guys that have had this injury. But he's way ahead of the game, so to speak, as far as recovery. And he wants to pitch this year. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. If he only had one, then I would probably have a little more serious conversation with him, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to redshirt you. Come back next year and be right in the middle of it again. This year's like, you could still be right in the middle of it, but if it doesn't work out, you still have another year. If we get into it, when it's about time for him to possibly pitch for us, we will talk with him. And it'll be, the conversation will be, do you want to use a year to try? And if it doesn't go good, it is what it is. And Hatchman, he's a big old guy with a big arm. He's starting to get there, and if he's ready to go in a few weeks, we'll ramp him up and we'll see what happens. See if we can go there.
Anything else, Coach? I want to ask about Dean Weber.
Yeah, sad deal. I've known Dean since I was a player here, 1981, 82. Dean, I just have a lot of memories of him because we all were in the same area, up there in the Broyle Center, football, baseball, everybody. It was football's area, but we were all in there. We didn't feel comfortable in there all the time. Didn't want to be in there getting any treatment. But Dean, he took control of that room. You could hear him snapping around and popping off and getting right back with those young guys and getting after guys that he didn't feel that should be in there. And just, his career has been so many years here at the University of Arkansas, and was finished up in the foundation. And he's always been a big fan of baseball here. And he'd come by and we'd talk a little bit. Every time I'd go by there, we'd talk. And he'd always want me just to come and sit in his office, and we'd talk about the old days for a little bit. But it's super sad to see someone that that we all loved, and he loved this university and this athletic department, pass on.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.